Streaming. Hey, everybody. We're going to hang out for about 2 minutes before we jump into writing part two. It's going to be so much fun, but really it's so important because when you get to these tests, this task exam, your writing has to be so tight. And really, you all have been doing fairly well in the writing. So let's make it even better, because you don't know what work you'll have in the future where you may need to write some reports. You may be a manager or a supervisor and be able to express yourself well. So that's what comes first. And when you interview for a job, um, being able to, writing will help you to speak better because we work on grammar. So all of this has a purpose. Yes, it's boring, it's not sexy, but writing is so important. And reading is so important. Comprehension. This is where we struggle on those tests, right? So we're going to dig into these things and just get you stronger. And the more that you commit to this, the better off you'll be. And it's really, that part is on you. And also, speaking up when you need some help. Let me hear from you. Let me hear from you. That's why I'm sitting here every day collecting a paycheck. I'm here for you. So we are it is 11 o'clock. It is hot, and it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot tonight. It's going to be hot tomorrow. In writing part one, hey everybody. In writing part one, I talked about the Operation Cool Sweep. If you look in classroom under the prior lesson, you will see a web page from the city of Rochester of all the places where you and your babies and whoever you take care of, including yourself, can go and be cool during the day today and tomorrow. Very important. We're talking about health issue here. So take advantage of these. So it's 11 o'clock. We're going to jump into our grammar and start talking about, I'm trying to figure out, excuse me, where to start first. I'm going to start with the Grammar Monster page because we're talking about in writing a participle. What is a participle? A participle is actually an adjective that acts, it's actually a verb that acts like an adjective. And what do adjectives do? They describe nouns. So let's take a look. By looking at this participle phrase, a participle phrase is an adjective phrase headed by a participle. And a participle is a verb form, again, that acts like an adjective or as part of an adverb phrase describing the verb in a sentence. So here's a sentence. Brimming with confidence, Jack blurted the answer. So who is the subject? Jack. And how was Jack? He was brimming with confidence. So we describe our noun as brimming with confidence. That's our whole participle phrase, which tells us about Jack. And the word brimming, it's a state of being, so it's a verb, right? But we turn it into an adjective. Okay, here we go. Getting into it now. Hang on, stay with me. So let's look here. And examples of participle phrases. In each of these examples, the participle phrase is shaded and it's in bold. So let's look. Remember that participle phrases act as adjectives, which describe nouns. Let's take a look at this first one here. Hold on a second, got too much going on here. So the first one says, peering over the top of his glasses. Her tutor shook his head. What's wrong? Just no. So who's the subject? Her tutor. What was he doing? Peering And if we put it in a phrase, how was he peering? He was looking over the top of his glasses like this. So that's our phrase. It's an adjective. It's describing the noun. Crack. Here's a good one. Crack from top to bottom. The mirror was now ruined. Subject is the what? The mirror. What was the mirror? Cracked. How was it cracked? From top to bottom. From top to bottom. That's our phrase, participle phrase, which tells us about our noun, the mirror. Look at another one. Look at that panther climbing the tree. Who's the subject? The subject is the panther. What is the panther doing? Climbing the tree. Participle phrase describes the panther. Let's look at another one. Sebastian reached across for the pipe, signaling his agreement with the chief's proposal. And so the participle phrase describes who? Sebastian. So signaling his agreement, reaching across for the pipe, signaling his agreement with the chief's proposal. Okay, so now we will have past participles or present participles. A participle is a verb form that can be used as an adjective. Let's hear that again. And if we're talking about one in the present, the rising tide, the sun, setting sun, right? Or if we talk about got a cake in the oven, so be careful of my rising cake. And if I use a past participle, the risen cake, right? The risen cake. The cake has risen. Okay, so now let's take a look here. We're going to show an example of the present participle being used as an adjective, a past participle being used as an adjective, and then one of those being used in a phrase. Let's take a look. To rise is the verb. Present, the rising sun. It's taking place right now. In the past participle, the risen sun. And then in a participle phrase, rising out of the sea in front of us, the sun started to warm our faces. Subject is the sun. What was it doing? Rising. Where was it rising? Out of the sea in front of us. Let's look at the verb to print. And in the printing document, it's coming out of the printer as we speak. And once it's done, it's the printed document. Printed on the very first press, the document was extremely valuable. What is our subject? The document. It was printed, which is the past, and on the very first press. That's how it was printed. Let's look at break. To break is our verb. Present participle is we have breaking news right now. We want to tell you about a fire that's on blah, blah, blah street. So avoid that street, right? And then the broken news. Did you hear about that fire that happened? Okay, so we're talking in the past. And then here's our participle phrase. Broken by a government whistleblower. The news is all over the media. So that is our participle phrase. And we're going to stop right there because this is going a little deeper than what we need to know. And so what I would like to do now is look at some of our participles in our image. Present participles. As a part of the continuous form of a verb, he is reading, right? It's ongoing. He's reading a book right now. He is reading a book. As an adjective, the smiling girl is my sister. It's describing the girl, and she's actively smiling. As a gerund, with the ing, we talked about that. Mary is interested in reading books. And after verbs, I saw them. What did you see? Crossing the street. With the verbs spend and waste. Don't waste time. playing computer games. You've got work to do. With the verbs catch and find, don't let him catch you reading his letters. Mm. And two actions at the same time, he left the room laughing. So what did he do? He left the room and he was laughing, both verbs. I hope that you got it from this. It's really not hard. It's just more of a way that we want to write and be precise. Let's take a quick look at our sheet. Verbals, participles as adjectives. A participle, again, is a verb that functions as an adjective or part of an adjective phrase in a sentence. Example, oh, this is small. Let me make sure. I want to always make sure you can see it. Yes, that looks good, right? So in the example, the barking dog woke us. Barking is a participle form of the verb to bark. It is functioning as an adjective by modifying the dog. What was the dog doing? Barking. Participles usually end in ing or ed, but sometimes end in d, n, t, ed, en, or ne. Let's take a look at that. What are you talking about? I don't know. You're confusing me. Circle the participle in the sentence below, and then write the word that it modifies in the blank under the sentence. Sentence 1, the burning building collapsed onto the street. What's our participle there? Our participle there is burning. It's telling us about the building. What about the building? It was burning, right? So the burning building. And so our noun is the building. That's our subject. Number 2, we loved the laughing baby. It's the subject. There's only one person being talked about. That's the baby. And what was the baby doing? The baby is laughing. I'm going to skip down and go to number 4. Mrs. Carter helped the shaken victim to a chair. What are we talking about? We're talking about the victim. And what about the victim? The victim was shaken. So this is where we're talking about a participle ending in an en, shaken. And that's shaken. It's past participle. So that's all I'm going to do with you. I've done 3. Again, you've got 5 to work through on your own. Ask me questions, ask me questions, ask me questions, ask me questions. And that's all I have. Hopefully I will see you at 11:30 for science. Take care. Be cool, be well.